Well, hey, Oak Grove. Today we are with Nathan Lorick. He is the director of the SBTC. Is that the correct title or is it executive director?
Executive director, but I'm called a lot of things. So
With the executive director. And Dr. Lorick, if you could just take a moment and introduce yourself, and then we'll go into a few questions.
sure. Thank you, Cody, for having me in Oak Grove. It's great to meet you via Zoom. My name is Nathan Lorick. I'm married. Actually, in a few days, it'll be 24 years. Have four kids and pastored a couple of churches out in East Texas. And then came on staff at the SBTC from 2012 to 2017. And then in 2017, God called my family to Colorado, to where I was the executive director for the Colorado Baptist Convention. And then back in 2021, when my predecessor retired, the SBTC invited me to come back and be the executive director here. And so, man, I love it. It's such a joy to serve churches just like yours in helping you fulfill the Great Commission.
So we are Oak Grove. We are a dually aligned church. That means there's um, two conventions, state conventions in Texas, and this is being a part of the Southern Baptist of Texas Convention is it is a part of our mission strategy. So with that, Dr. Lorick, are we a Southern Baptist of Texas church because we're Southern Baptist in Texas, or like what makes us a Southern Baptist of Texas church, and then why does this organization even exist?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I did not grow up Southern Baptist. I grew up Independent Baptist. So when I went to college, became a Southern Baptist, I thought the same thing. Well, that's just Baptist churches in the South that partner together. But man, I have since learned the beauty of cooperation and the synergistic approach to Southern Baptist being together. Southern Baptist being a national network of churches that really rally themselves around the BFNM 2000 and then the mission of reaching the world together through International Mission Board and North American Mission Board, training students in our seminaries, and of course, the headquarters of the Southern Baptist Convention is the local church, always has been, always will be. And so a convention like ours, it really exists to serve churches like yours. I love to remind churches that God didn't give the Great Commission to the Southern Baptist of Texas Convention. Yes, as individuals, we all have it, but God gave the Great Commission to the local church. And so we are not the local church. We assist the local church in fulfilling that Great Commission. So we come alongside of churches, and people ask me all the time. So what does a convention do? I think the best way to answer that is there's rarely anything that we can't do, that we don't do, or that we can't resource for you or outsource for you through the relationships God's given us as a statewide network. And so anything from church strategy to trainings, equippings, from deacon trainings to pastor trainings to children's ministry trainings, all the way to conflict resolution, conflict management, I should say, in churches when they go through difficult times. We can recommend people to come in and kind of walk with churches to, churches that need loans to build buildings. We have a foundation that started from us that we're partnered with. That is Southern Baptist of Texas Foundation. They do loan management or church loans. They do asset management. So churches that have money in the bank, they want to make a higher return and they want that money to go to kingdom causes. They do that. They do church accounting, all kinds of things that happen. But together, Cody and Oak Grove, what we get to do is we get to plant new churches all across Texas. We get to help mobilize churches on mission. Our mission focus statement at the SBTC is that, man, we are here to mobilize churches to multiply disciple making movements in Texas around the world. The reason we kind of narrow down on that is to say it is the church that experiences disciple making movements. And for us, we help mobilize the church, partner churches together, help really convene churches with a unified mission of making disciples and seeing disciple making movements made and spread all across not only our state but the world. And so for us, we're the mobilizers. We can get churches together, mobilized, and so we say, here's what we do. That's our mission focus. How do we do that? And for us, it's real simple. We say everything we do, we can narrow down into three lanes. One, we resource churches. Two, we network leaders, and three, we advance mission together. And so that's what we do through serving the church. We're resourcing leaders, resourcing churches, networking leaders together, and together through giving and sending and mobilization, we are advancing the mission together. So it is a joy to serve churches just like Oak Grove.
Well, thank you so much. And so I think one thing that people get confused with about being a Baptist church, because we're around Methodists and Presbyterians and Catholics, and more than just my church is going to watch this, we're going to share it on social media. So you're not like the Texas Baptist Pope, right? You're not telling us what to do. You already answered the question, but just to help people understand.
Yeah, so there's no hierarchy at all. Churches, every Baptist church are completely autonomous. You choose to cooperate with us. And so that is a voluntarily cooperation relationship that the church chooses. And then, of course, we choose who can affiliate and who can't based for us. The SBTC, we're what we call a confessional fellowship, which means you have to affirm the Baptist Faith and Message 2000 to be a part of our convention because we believe that doctrinal unity will fuel missional unity. And so, no, not at all, man. We don't tell. In fact, I laugh when people, you've alluded to it a couple of times, say, well, Dr. Lorick this. And I say, hey, listen, call me Nathan. When I got my master's, my wife didn't start calling me master. So don't worry about calling me doctor. I'm just Nathan. And
I tried, it didn't work.
yeah, I'm a friend to pastors and friend to churches, and just love coming alongside of you guys.
Well, we're grateful for it. So, okay, uh, being a Southern Baptist of Texas, being Southern Baptist, it's a bottom up organization. Nobody tells us as a congregation what to do. We are freely cooperating based on a statement of faith. But so when we give our money to the convention, what happens?
Sure. So there's two or three ways that you can give to the convention. The way that has historically been the pathway for Southern Baptist, and the way that I believe is the most impactful, is something that we call cooperative program. So when you give to the cooperative program, or through the cooperative program, I should say, you send money to the SBTC. The SBTC keeps 45% of that for all of the ministries across Texas and serving currently 2,858 churches in Texas. We send 55% of everything we get straight to the larger organization, Southern Baptist Convention, National Convention, in which then they separate it out to the International Mission Board, North American Mission Board, the Executive Committee, the ERLC, and to our 6 seminaries. And so the SBTC, since we only keep 45% and send 55, we are the second largest percentage giving convention in the SBC. Many conventions keep 50%, 60%, some even 70 and 80% in state. We believe it's not Texas only or Texas first, it's Texas and the world together. And so we love our partnership with the Southern Baptist Convention, with the International Mission Board, North American Mission Board, and planting churches, sending missionaries, and then our seminaries training students. And so for us, it's a bigger picture partnership that we love. So you can give through the cooperative program. That's how that happens. We have special offerings, right? So the International Mission Board has the Lottie Moon Christmas offering to fund missionaries. The North American Mission Board has the Annie Armstrong offering to fund church planters. And then the SBTC has something we call Reach Texas, which is a special offering for missions and evangelism here in Texas and helping Texas churches go to the ends of the earth. And so those are 3 designated ways that you can give. And when you give to us and through Lottie Moon and Annie Armstrong, obviously you have to designate towards that. We send that on for you. And then there's a third way, and this is a way that some churches do. We really champion the cooperative program because we believe that there's not anything in the world where $1 can spread so far through training seminary students and placing 3 or 4 thousand missionaries on the field and thousands of church planters just by cooperative program. But some churches say, well, we want to give specifically and designate it just to the SBTC or just to that. And so you can do that, although we champion the cooperative program for the overall global impact and partnership. We value our partnership with our SBC entities.
And so, like we talked, if you're watching this and cooperative program doesn't ring a bell, last week we talked to Dr. Madison Graves from Southwestern. He's literally recently written a book on the cooperative program. I'd encourage you to go and watch that. You'll be able to see it on the YouTube feed or Facebook feed, whatever. But the thing that makes us Southern Baptist isn't that we put it on the marquee, it's that we participate in the cooperative in the cooperative program. And that's how all the monies are distributed. I've said it before and I'm going to keep saying it. The reason I'm Southern Baptist is because, well, I agree with doctrine, but that's honestly secondary. I believe it's the greatest mission force in the world.
Right.
And if there was something better, I would try to be that. So we participate through the cooperative program, and that's the funding strategy that keeps this that moves this whole ecosystem of these different entities and how they're serving North America, Texas, and globally. So I just would recommend, if you're unfamiliar with that term, go check that out because he explains it really well and in detail. So uh, I know you said don't call you doctor, but there's
That's okay, man.
outdoing one another in honor. So that's an
Sure,
honorable title.
sure.
So Dr. Lorick, I've been Southern Baptist of Texas for quite a long time, and our church recently just moved to to being a Southern Baptist of Texas church. And I can tell you, church, that I've benefited through the conferences they put on, through the youth events that they put on. A couple of years ago, a pastor that I was a member of the church committed suicide, and the out in East Texas and the Southern Baptists of Texas came around and loved that church and helped the church from in that season of a lot of pain. The Southern Baptist of Texas is very involved as you need it in a local church. We used them one time to help us rewrite bylaws and things like that. So they have a ton of tools but as if I'm a congregant in this church and I'm looking at, okay, we're giving to them, they say like really high level things, but I'm looking at my pastor and he seems like he needs some help, or I'm looking at our church and I recognize that we need some help. What are some tangible things that we as a congregation can touch that would, I don't know, strengthen the pastor, strengthen the congregation? Maybe we're struggling on mobilizing for local or global missions. Like how can you guys help us with that?
Yeah, great question. So, and it really it's so such a variety of how we can help you, but I'll narrow it down to 4 or 5 things here. Number one, we do have a lot of equipping opportunities through conferences and trainings and church revitalization that we call Regenesis, through deacon trainings and women's ministries and children's ministries. We have an incredible disabilities ministry, which is formerly called special needs. Now they call it disabilities ministries. We have disaster relief. You know, when a disaster strikes, we have an incredible disaster relief team that is able to mobilize volunteers all over not only Texas, but really North America with the gospel in the midst of crisis. We have opportunities for pastors to go and do, for example, I'm leading a pastor's trip to Israel. So for pastors to be able to go, and we cut the cost way down, we end up giving a grant to that pastor to where they get to go really cheaper than they'll ever get to go in their life. to give them opportunity to learn. We have those kind of things. We have networks that pastors and staff members can be a part of. We have a network called the Shepherds Collective for senior pastors. We have XPAN, which is Executive Pastors Network, Worship Leaders Network, Youth Ministers Network. I mean, there's just all these different networks that you can plug in and that you can actually build relationships with and learn from each other. We do cohorts. We have special opportunities for those guys to get together and to not only to be with each other and fellowship with each other, but to learn. When it comes to churches, like I said, there's really not any needs that churches don't have that we can't say, hey, we've got a resource for you, or we got a tool for you, or hey, we know somebody that does this really well. Let's get you in contact with them. God's given in our network such a blessing by the relationships He's given us across not only our state, but really across Texas and the world to be able to connect churches with. Another example is there are times, and you mentioned a tragic situation. There are times when pastors or pastors' wives or pastors' kids or church staff they're going through a very difficult time, and they need to take a step back, and they need to maybe get some counseling for something traumatic they went through. And the SBTC for those pastors. We step in, and if they say, man, I really need to go sit down with somebody, we pay for the first 6 sessions of that and say, hey, we want you to get healthy. We want you to be able to sit down with somebody and kind of talk through these things. So if that's a path that a pastor needs, and you wouldn't believe how many pastors that we help go and sit down with a counselor or pastor's wives or their families to say, hey, you need help with this, we're here to help you. When it comes to churches, like we do a tax seminar for churches. Hey, here's all the changes going on in the tax codes, tax world. We do seminars where churches and their financial people can get on and go through these seminars. I've already mentioned our foundation, but when it comes to things like evangelism, we can do trainings, equipping your people on how to share your faith, how to think strategically about your community. When it comes to missions, man, we got one of the best missions guys I believe in the country. He's developed a strategy that, so we have partnerships right now. Our partnerships are in Nevada and Puerto Rico, and that's going to be shifting a little bit. Nevada's kind of coming to an end, and we'll be launching out a new one later this year. And we have a brand new partnership with IMB across Europe, which they call Eurofields. They're going to break it down into Eurofields, and each Eurofield is going to have several million people representing that Eurofield who are lost. And so we're able to help mobilize churches to one of these places in Europe to say, man, our church wants to work with this missionary in this Eurofield to try to help them make disciples there in Europe. And so we have all the infrastructure, connections, networking, and systems in place to help churches. In fact, one of the things that's so cool, Cody, that a lot of people don't even know about is we launched a thing called M-Link, which is the only way, church, that I know how to explain it is it's eHarmony for missions. And what I mean by that is we have profiles from missionaries across Texas, North America, and across the globe through the IMB. And we have their profiles. And so when your church gets on and says, hey, we want to do something for the Lord in Europe. And so, or we want to do a help church plant in Las Vegas or Puerto Rico or whatever these areas we're partnering with, your church goes on and you fill out kind of a questionnaire. And through all this modern technology, it match makes your church with one of these missionary profiles, actually with about 3 or 4, and ranks it in how compatible your church is to what this missionary is doing, where they're working, and the work they need done versus what your church does and the heart your church has for missions. And so we have all kinds of incredible infrastructure to help mobilize you on mission, not only across the street and across the state, partnering with other churches, but man, helping plant churches across North America and the world together.
Very cool. You only have a few things going on, right?
Oh man, it's a lot of fun. It's no
I'd
two
hate to
days
see you get
alike.
excited about it.
Absolutely.
In church, we last weekend our ladies went and they went to I'm going to say the wrong thing, vacation Bible school training that the SBTC put on. That prayer retreat I was at a couple of weeks ago, the SBTC put on. Those pastor trainings and cohorts, even when I wasn't a part of the SBTC since I've been here, they've let me participate. So our church has benefited greatly over the last couple of years just from our relationship with them. And we're in the process of of a building, and that he mentioned the foundations. That's you've heard that name a couple of times, and foundations is another ministry that they have that's going to bless our church so that we can do future ministry. So they do a lot of cool things. And so, Dr. Lorick, the last thing I'm going to ask you
Sure.
is we partner with two SBTC church plants,
Okay, great.
Hope Church Robinson and Robinson, and then the Cross Baptist Church in Wallsville. But so we're starting to understand the scope of at least those two ministries. But on a larger scale, what does church planting look like in the state of Texas right now?
Yeah, I'm so glad you asked. In 2021, when I came back, again, at that time we had 2,600 and something churches, and we had planted together through the system that we plant 14 churches. And I was just burdened by that. Texas has 31 million people. Some say, the belief is about 19 million of them are lost without a relationship with Christ. And an organization has 2,600 at the time, now 2,858 churches. Man, we should be planting more churches. So we began to partner with Send Network, North American Mission Board, and Send Network, and we created Send Network SBTC. We began planting churches, and we have an assessment process and funding process, all these things that a planter has to go through before they're endorsed, and then go and plant the church. And so the next year, in our first year of that partnership, we planted about 30 churches. The next year, somewhere around 50. The next year, 60 something. Last year, we planted right at 70 churches. And so
Oh,
since 2022, when we launched this, we have planted 200 new churches in Texas. And the cool thing about that, Cody, is when you plant a church, you never know if it's going to make it or not. You hope it does. You hope you've equipped them. But out of those 200, and this is as of the end of September, out of those 200, only five have not made it,
oh
which
wow.
is phenomenal as far as the success rate of a church plant. For example, my family is a part of a church plant. 2.5 years ago, the pastor and his family and my family, we started the church. The pastor is the planter, and we were just there with him to help plant that church. And we meet in a school, and man, it's a grind. It's hard, but God is blessing. People are coming to know Christ and doing great things. And so that's not possible without churches just like Oak Grove given through the cooperative program or given to Reach Texas. One of the things that I want your church to know about when you do give to us that I meant to mention earlier was the highest percentage of our budget always has been and always will be missions and evangelism. We call it missional ministries, those two together. That'll always be the highest line item of the SBTC budget because that is our priority, right? As children of God, and as even as a organization as Sis Churches, we help Sis Churches to reach the lost, make disciples, plant churches, be on mission together. And so, man, we love serving churches, and I'm so grateful for your leadership, brother, and I'm grateful for the partnership of Oak Grove with the SBTC. And man, we will do anything we can to help you and serve you as you have need.
Well, what makes me excited about the SBTC is our vision here at Oak Grove is to advance the kingdom by making disciples.
Yeah.
And God's organization for doing that in the last 2,000 years is churches.
Local
And the
church.
SBTC is about empowering churches and planting churches. So, Dr. Lork, I want to thank you so much for your time. And I'm going to sign off, and we appreciate you so much.
Absolutely.